Yeah, I had a really quick question about the Luis Carlos Lea's poem, This Is Just to Say.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was reading his response to his wife's note, basically.
Yes.
And he wrote about the rape of the refrigerator, that line he says, remember?
He said, well, it's almost like a rape of the icebox, he said. And then he laughs a little bit. It's
right. And
problematic.
I had this wild association. I didn't think more sexual apologies. I thought of almost an allusion to rape of the lock.
Yeah, very possible. Very possible.
In fact, they were both sort of, sounding very provocative, but it's very mundane.
Yeah. Mike, would you do me a favor and hang up and listen to the answer on the webcast? Would you do that?
I will.
Okay. Mike,
Sure.
It's great. Are you going to make a trip to Philly to the Writers' House at some point?
I'd love to.
Okay. We'll see you there then. Thank you. Thanks for calling.
Thanks a lot, Al.
Okay. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Mike. Take care. That worked really well. So thank you, Ray. And here's your little cord. 215-422-2928. What if you call, Ray will answer, and then you'll wait a little bit. Okay, so Anna, have you joined us? Anna Strong, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Anna. Sorry I had to kick you off, but you're back.
It's cool. I'm not sad.
That's good. All right. So we're talking about the refrigerator note poem, right?
Al, can I take 1 second, though? Hey, Jason?
Yeah.
Can you mute yourself?
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Why? Is Jason singing the Star Spangled Banner while we're trying to have a webcast?
We've got Jason's outside. We got traffic noises and everything.
Oh, Jason, go inside somewhere and mute yourself. I've never said that to Jason, but so this is just to say I have eaten the plums that were in the icebox and which you were probably saving for breakfast. Forgive me. They were delicious, so sweet and so cold. What is your hint, Anna Strong, in that poem that this apology isn't quite the full apology that it might be? Which part of the text gives you some kind of hint that it's not a pure apology?
Well, I think partly the fact that the forgive me doesn't come until the last stanza.
There is that, yes.
Right?
Well,
I mean, if this is
okay.
an apology, you might start there.
What happens right after that?
You have not like, I'm so sorry about this. You have forgive me, but they were fantastic. I'm
Yes.
not really that sorry.
They were
so good.
They were delicious, so sweet. So you got that fabulous consonance there. So sweet, so poetic, so sweet, and so cold. So the deliciousness of the plums has made its way into the poem. So Williams gets the poem and the plums, and Flossie gets nada. Right? Am I being too harsh? I mean, in the discussion forums, I think some people have, very nicely, the way they can be in the discussion forums, said, you guys are too hard on him. He's really not so bad. I want to open it up to Amaris, Emily. Amaris, Emily, do you have anything to say about this battle between Flossie and Bill?
I was kind of going to echo what you just said, that he is savoring the plums. That's what the last two lines are devoted to. The fact that it doesn't end on the tone of repentance and forgiveness just kind of signals to me that he's more of a sensualist. He's not thinking in terms of like moral repentance, exactly.
So he's a sensualist. The problem, I totally love what you said there. The problem is he's a sensualist, but what we get is not the plum or relationship with his wife, relations with his wife, because there is a sexual dimension here. We get the poem. Do you consider the poem to be the poem of a sensualist? Do you consider the poem to be sensual? I guess I'm going to throw that to Emily Harnett.
Yeah, I do. There's it's kind of hard not to, right? Because it doesn't end on the words "forgive me." It ends on "they were delicious, so sweet and so cold." A sort of unapologetic description of joyful sensory experience.
Thank you. The great boundary breaking thing about this poem was that he took a refrigerator note genre. He took the genre. I don't even know if you could, in those days, in the teens and 20s, even elevate this kind of writing to the word genre. But a refrigerator note was a genre. How many of you have written, not texted, handwritten a note to leave for your partner or your spouse or your husband or wife in the house when you've done something and left? Okay? And I just want to say for the record, I don't know if we have a visual of that, but Zach's turning. Raise your hand again if you've left a note. All right. Susan, I want you to stand up and speak really loudly. Come up to the front. I don't know how the video is going to work. Come on, Susan. Oh, okay. Who else has done it? Who else has left a note? Kellyanne. Now suddenly that nobody wants to talk. Kellyanne, come up to the front. Come on. Come on. Actually, what you can do is you can go to that side and pull that wonderful Folger chair up to the table and speak really loud into the mic. And just this is very simple. I'm not going to put you on the spot. Well, maybe I am, actually. Tell us very loudly what note you left. Can you remember the last one?
One to my kids, maybe?
To your kids. And you said?
Okay. I have to think back, that you need to do something. So that you need to empty the dishwasher, or that you need to, pick up your room.
So I have to go out.
Ignore them?
I have to go out. Please, before I get home, clean up your room and pick up the dishes in the kitchen.
Yes.
Mom.
Yes.
Or
Love
mother.
Mom.
Love Mom. Was that a poem? John Knight.
No.
Was that a poem? Would you count Kellyanne's note to her kids in the realm of poetry? Would you?
Yes, I would. I think it's
John Knight. John Knight. He's so latitudinarian. He's so generous. His categories are so wide.
Anyway, I would count it as a poem.
That's right. We need John to right. Okay. Go ahead, John.
Because it's short and it's terse and it's just about the facts, and so that's why I.
So Williams made it possible for Kellyanne to be a poet while being a mom, right? Because of this. So this genre, which is thought of as low, emerges. I mean, Williams was literally the first person. I don't think anybody in the history of poetry published, certainly not made famous, a poem that began as an actual refrigerator note. And I assume that we are all happy about this revolution, right? And I'm going to go around. So Molly, Allie, Amaris, Anna, Dave, Emily, Erica, Jason, and Max. I'm going to ask you each to say in a sentence or less whether you are happy that that there's no going back from William Carlos Williams, Chapter 2, Week 3, that there is no going back in the history of modern poetry, that the genres have all been widely open. So, Molly, it's a good thing, totally good thing, no problem, you love it, right?
Totally a good thing. I love it.
Thank you. Allie? Allie Castleman, are you there? Okay, Allie's mic is muted.
Yeah.
Allie?
Yes, I completely agree with Molly.
Okay. Amaris, this is a totally good thing. There's no downside to crappy little low-level genres. Kellyanne's note to her kids, John Knight, in John Knight's anthology, is a poem. No problem, no downside. You don't have a conservative aesthetic bone in your body, right?
No, now it's all about your own point of view, and poetry can be everywhere.
Wow. Anna?
Hell yeah.
I knew you were going to say that. Dave Poplar?
I love it. The toothpaste is out of the tube. Can't put it back.
That's a poem, Dave. Emily Harnett?
Yes.
Come on, Emily. I want to channel the conservative impulse in you. Come on. Be grumpy.
I'm sorry, Al.
No, you're no
I've
grumpiness
changed.
about this. What would you have said? Anna, Emily, I really asking this question. Honestly, I want a frank answer. All right, let's say it's 1920, 1923, and you are in the webcast in 1920, and the 1920 version of Al is saying, I found this poem in a magazine called Poetry Magazine, and it's a refrigerator note, and it's about an apology to the guy's wife about eating the plums, and it's a poem. Honestly, would you then have embraced it?
Well, when you put it that way, I think I would have had some initial resistance to it. But that resistance would be part and parcel of also being kind of titillated and intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Something to be new, and exciting, it has to have that initial sort of antagonistic encounter with the reader, I think.
Yeah, so the antagonism, Emily is saying that the impulse to say, is this poetry? Is this poetry? It's the same impulse that brings people to this day at the Philadelphia Museum of Art to stand in front of the fountain, to stand in front of Duchamp's urinal turned upside down and signed, and say, it ain't art, or what the hell is this, or how much did they pay for this thing, or how much would it sell if it were on the open market? Probably $850,000. But it's just a urinal, a found object brought out of the hardware store and made into art, and that incredible hubristic gesture became art and now is completely and utterly accepted even by grumpy Uncle Joe, who's there right now while we're here looking at it, saying to Gert, his wife, they just came in from Iowa, saying to Gert, I hear, I'm sorry, I'm doing a Midwest, I don't even know. I hear it's art. Well, Gert, if it's art, okay. And what Emily and Molly and everybody else is celebrating is the fact that we ask about whether it's art. That's what we mean by meta-poetry, really, in ModPo. What we mean is that we encounter something that challenges our categories, not just gives us something, another version of something beautiful or another version of someone's personal experience, but in fact, a categorical question. Is it art? All right, good. Erica, you're on board?
I think it's a U-Haul of awesome.
Thank you, Erica. That's great. Jason?
We told him to mute.
We told him to mute. Okay. Jason, nod your head. If this is...
No, I'm not mute. I'm here.
Jason, you're on board. You have no doubts?
No, not at all. I think that, like Pound, everything really went downhill after the Troubadours.
I knew you can't leave well enough alone. And Max McKenna in Chicago, home of all kinds of aesthetic conservative impulses, but there's Max waving his freak flag for modernism, right?
Yes.
He wasn't ready to sign on with that.
He was not quite ready to sign on with my characterization.